Hello, welcome to Living Off the Grid. This is Hector Vladimir. Today I'd like to speak about two efficiency related topics. First is fuel for vehicles for transportation. The other one is food for your caloric intake, nourishment for your survival and health. I'd like to speak first about fuel. Fuel right now is at the top of everyone's mind or thinking because it is so expensive at the moment. As I speak, fuel prices here in the southeast US are between $3.55 and $3.80. Some areas do have fuel a lot higher than that, about $4, sometimes a bit more. And of course, many areas of the nation, the country, have fuel prices a lot higher and some lower, but the average, I believe, is quite high compared to 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. And I like to speak about efficiency when it comes to fuel. Of course, the ideal thing would be not to use any fuel at all. I am a huge advocate for turning your back on the fossil fuel industry as best you can. Sometimes it is possible to completely turn away from it, especially for transportation. The largest consumer of fuel is your transportation for most people. And if you can go with an electric vehicle, or at the very least with a plug-in hybrid or hybrid, those things would be very significant steps to saving fuel. For those of us that still need to use fuel because you still have your ICE vehicle, you cannot buy an electric vehicle, or even if you have a hybrid vehicle which does use gas, a lot less, but still does use it, you want to be as efficient as possible. And I have a few tips, a few techniques, methods to save on fuel. Number one is to slow down. As you may know, many people don't know, but you may know that if you go slower, even a bit slower, and you drive smoother, meaning carefully, you don't accelerate as fast, you don't brake as fast, you watch or time your stops. When you approach a red light, there's no need to accelerate to it or keep pressing the gas. As you approach it, just let go of that gas pedal and just coast to it. That will save you. When you add up all of these stops and weeks and months go by, this alone, this driving habits will, in conjunction as a group, as a cumulative effort, will add up, will amount to significant savings in your purchases of gas. Your purchases will or should lower. That's what you want, especially when gas is high. Slow down, drive more carefully, drive easier, smoother, more laid back, more relaxed. No hurry to get anywhere unless it's a life or death emergency somewhere. You drive a ambulance or police squad car for some reason. But other than that, other than you driving those vehicles and the fire truck, there's no need for you to be in a hurry to get anywhere. Get out earlier, arrive on time or even early, so there's no hurry, there's no rush. You will find that you will be more relaxed and even safer through your drives as you slow down and just relax driving. Concentrate, don't text and drive, don't use your phone and drive, and you will get there most likely around the same time that you would if you were rushing. That's been proven over and over that rushing does not really work. All it does is increase your chances of getting into some sort of wreck. So just avoid it and save you some money. Don't give the fossil fuel industry more money than you need to. You should limit at all possible the amount of money that you give to the fossil fuel industry. Not only if you're an environmentalist, but if you just have a little bit of common sense. Keep that money in your pocket, not in the pockets of your friendly fossil fuel investor or corporate executive. Trust me, they don't really need that extra bit of money from you. Another tip to save on fuel is to, as I mentioned, go electric, go hybrid, if at all possible. If you are due for another car, seriously consider an electric vehicle first. Learn about it, find out about it. There may be a model out there, new or used, that could fit your needs, at least 99% of it, and adjust so you can use it. There's some adjustments to be made. Of course, you have to charge it. You have to have a way of charge it where you live. If you live in an apartment, it's a bit more challenging, but it is possible to make accommodations for you to charge, whether it is at your apartment or at a nearby location. That location needs to be very reliable as far as you being able to charge. Of course, you're going to depend on that vehicle most likely for your everyday movements, whether it's to go to work or do errands, other things. Some people use their vehicles for work, such as delivery drivers, etc. Another thing you may do, this is the best next thing from getting a electric vehicle or hybrid, and it is to downsize. You can downsize your vehicle size. Of course, the less mass you push, the less energy it will take to move that vehicle. 90% of the time or better, we are driving in our vehicles on our own. So if you could at all downsize, even if you have to keep a larger vehicle around for those rare occasions where you have to actually move other people or haul items, it is a smart investment, to my estimation, for you to get a small vehicle, as small as you can, or as small as you can feel safe in. There are tiny vehicles out there that a lot of people don't feel comfortable driving, and understandably so, such as the smart vehicles out there, those two-seaters. There are others. There are not that many of them out there, but there are some micro vehicles out there. But you can go with a smaller vehicle. There are many models out there of small vehicles from various manufacturers, from Ford, Chevy. The Fiesta is one that comes to mind as a small vehicle. Chevy has the Aveo. There may be other models from Chevy. I know Toyota had a few models. Yaris is one that they had. There are many out there used for sale. Honda has the Honda Fit, I believe, is one of the smaller ones nowadays. And Nissan has got the Versa, their smaller model. There are many others out there that escape my mind. Look them up. Look for subcompact vehicles. And also one that came to mind is the Mitsubishi Mirage. Those are pretty small and they're excellent in their fuel efficiency. So you may want to consider a vehicle for their fuel efficiency as well. They do have many compact vehicles, not necessarily subcompact or tiny, but compact, that do have excellent fuel efficiency. Honda Civic is one, the Accord is another, the Toyota Corolla is another, the Nissan Versa has got excellent fuel efficiency, perhaps one of the top, apart from the Mitsubishi Mirage. I believe it's the top fuel efficient vehicle in the US right now, available for purchase. I believe next down from that is the Honda Civic, and third down, I believe, is the Toyota Corolla. You may consider also, other than a vehicle, some people, not too many, I would believe, not too many. This is more for the few or the minority of people that are able to bike to work, to places where they need to go, shopping, etc. You may opt for a bike, you may opt for a electric scooter, or you may also opt for a ICE scooter. Those use very little fuel, although they may use some, but you may be able to save a lot with them. Of course, you have to accept the risk, the significantly higher risk of an accident, of severe bodily injury, or even death. You have to accept that risk. It is real when you are riding a bicycle or any kind of motorcycle, moped, e-scooter, e-bike. You have to be careful. You have to be safe. You have to take training. It does take experience and training to be able to navigate out on the road in those vehicles. I do recommend you do not be on the road on bicycles. Make sure you stay on the side of the road, such as in sidewalks or broad shoulders if available. Avoid at all costs being on the actual travel lanes for vehicles, even if it is on the side. Many people veer off their lane routinely. This happens all the time. People on their phone, people distracted, people falling asleep, people just looking down, looking elsewhere. They veer off of their lane. You don't want to be in the path of that distracted driver in a bike, scooter, e-bike, e-scooter, whatever it is. Another way to save energy, another way to save fuel is to just go out less. Make sure that you get whatever you need in as little trips out as possible. Using vehicles, you want to minimize the use of vehicles as best you can. And for that, you can make lists of the things that you need to go pick up when you go out. Make a list so you don't forget and clumsily leave something behind that you really need it. And you feel like you have to go back and get it, make another trip, another round trip, which is a complete and utter waste of energy and funds. The last tip I want to bring up about fuel, make sure you put the cheapest fuel available. If you have to go around town and find out where the cheapest fuel is, do that. Remember, the cheapest fuel is not always in the same spot. It may be most of the time, but there may be times where the cheapest fuel is in different gas stations. So make sure you get the cheapest fuel. Do not pay extra money for higher grade fuel. That is just a waste of funds. And make sure that you go to the gas station with the cheapest fuel. Don't support, don't prop up and give the thumbs up and help out the people with expensive fuel, because all that's going to do is keep that expensive fuel expensive for you and everyone else. So do yourself and all of us a favor and buy cheap. So to jump over to food, food is also expensive. Food and fuel prices are usually tied together as far as the cost, the level. When fuel is up, food goes up. When fuel is down, food tends to stay up as well. That is a trend there that just changes on the upswing. On the downswing, usually doesn't change. It changes very, very slowly and very painstakingly. So same as with fuel, make sure you buy the cheapest available food. Of course, I'm not telling you to sacrifice on quality or quantity if you need those, but do buy the cheapest available food for the same quality and quantity. So if you find your 2 apples and 1 potato cheaper at
Store 1,
than at
Store 2,
go ahead and buy it from
Store 1.
if it's the same quality. Of course, some things are not the same quality. Some are organic, some are a lot fresher, some are a lot better. But do your research homework, do your due diligence to find the best deal, because again, if you just grab and go, don't look at prices, you're just harming everyone else, harming and keeping prices artificially high. Also, be smart about buying food. Don't just buy a whole bunch of junk, a whole bunch of food that you will likely not even use, a whole bunch of thoughtless choices of products. Be smart about it. Buy healthy foods. Buy barely enough for you to use it in time. A lot of people like to hoard, to keep food around. What that does is just waste a lot of food. Food does have shelf life. They go bad, they expire. A lot of them do. A lot of them do have a lot longer shelf life. Canned foods, dry foods, etc. For the most part, all of them do have a shelf life. A lot of people like to stockpile like the world is going to end tomorrow or sometime in the near future. But in reality, if indeed the world is going to end or a catastrophe is going to be so severe that it's going to disrupt the food availability, then you will have a lot more to worry about than a little bit of food. It's all right to keep a little extra foods that don't expire for a long time. I would say canned foods and some dry foods, but a couple of weeks to a month worth of food, rationed food, of course, is enough. That's just like a couple of dozen cans of variety of vegetables and foods and meat, in a can that lasts a long time. Those things are usually not the healthiest, but it may keep you alive. I'm not against that at all, but you also have to have control over that. You can build up a small stockpile of food over time. You don't have to get it all at once. And it doesn't cost much, trust me. Rice lasts a long time. Dried beans last a long time. Also, many canned vegetables, many canned fish, tuna, salmon, sardines, all that good stuff. They last a long time. A lot of canned vegetable skin. Again, you don't have to go crazy with it. Save money. Another way to save on food, again, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but it is to eat less. Be more conscious about what you eat healthier, eat less amount, and also eat less times per day. 3 times a day is enough. A lot of people eat about 5 to 6 times, counting snacks, what they call snacks, which sometimes look like full meals. Don't buy
Fast food.
on a routine basis. Of course, people do get together, gather, and have a good time once in a while. They go out and grab a burger, they go out and grab a few tacos, or they go out and grab a chicken meal, which is fine once in a while. Many people
Routinely.
eat out. They basically eat out every day.
A lot of people that work, especially,
Seem to be the prime people that eat out. They seem to want to eat somewhere different every day. It is more like a culture thing now where people just try different restaurants, different days of the week, and then they
wonder
why their health is deteriorating so fast. Their weight keeps climbing up, and that is it, my friend. You eating out every day is the culprit. It doesn't really matter how much you exercise. If you eat out every day, your weight is just going to climb. The exercise may just slow it down a bit, but it is going to keep climbing. Trust me, I'm guilty of that. I have given that up. Hopefully, I'll keep it up and
don't.
go back to that lifestyle of eating out several times a week. I didn't eat every day out, but it was a few times a week, which is still pretty harmful. There's a lot of garbage out there. It's being sold in restaurants. Food is just smothered with salt, sugar, fats, and all kinds of cholesterol-giving oils and fat. So you want to stay away from that stuff. They're trying to sell as much food as they can. So they're going to go with the most flavor, what people buy the most, which again is a combination of high salt, sugar, and fat. That is true across the board. It doesn't matter what restaurant you go to, whether it is a a fast food like Checkers or McDonald's, or it is a sit-down restaurant like the Outback or Chili's, you're going to get the same or even more in some instances in those sit-down restaurants as you do in those fast food drive-through restaurants. Don't think for a minute that you're getting any better food at Chili's than you do at Burger King. So that's all I have about food and saving money. Hope you have a great day and save up.